Safe house.
Hello and welcome back to FrogBoyX1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to do my review for Redfall. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now I've got about 20 hours into the game. I've played it on Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and the PC version. So let's get started with this. I want to talk about this game as and I did pay full price for this game. I put my money where my mouth is so that I could put myself in a position as somebody that would pay for this game full price, because I wanted this review to be as accurate and as fair as possible. So when I look at the game Redfall, what I see is something that's kind of unique, but at the same time, it also falls into that trap of other games like Far Cry, other different experiences. You know that, man. I mean, it's kind of like Destiny, but then it's not, and it's kind of like the Division, but it's really not. It's got like all these different aspects to Redfall. Now, I want to start with the Destiny / looter shooter type part first. I want to start right there. Now, when I play those types of games, I usually get frustrated and irritated with them as I continue to level up, and I'm always having to switch out my gear, and it just becomes a confusing mess for me sometimes, until I've actually had like plenty of time to sit there and really play the game. So when I get a game like that, I don't normally play those as that specific type of game. I usually play those more as like an open world experience, to where I just get through the game, I do the story missions, stuff like that. And then, over time I will go back and I'll continue to play them and I'll experiment with stuff. So 9 times out of 10, I never play those games the way they're truly intended to be played. And that's kind of the same way with Redfall. So Redfall, and see, this is where Redfall differs for me a little bit, because I don't feel that urge to have to run out and get a new, to upgrade my equipment like all the time. I feel confident enough with the build that I have and the equipment that I have. When I'm out there and I'm playing and I'm doing the single, it doesn't feel like overly too hard, and it doesn't feel super easy. So I feel like I'm getting a little bit better experience than I would be normally with that type of a game. And there's not a whole lot of choice. I mean, yeah, you can find stuff and equip these different items and stuff throughout the game. But in my experience so far, it's been pretty good. I really like that. Now, I want to move on to the open world. Now, you have 2 maps in Redfall. You have Redfall itself, and then you have another map that after you get to there, it's called Burial Point, which is almost 3 times as big as the starting map, which is, you could potentially say that's more of a starter map, like a tutorial map or whatever, but it's still pretty big. It's still a lot of content in there. It took me about 12 hours to get through the first map. When I play open world games, and this is where we're getting into the second part, like the open worlds, is when I play an open world game, I like to explore. I like to see things. I like to look at the environments. I like to take my time a little bit with those at the same time as getting through the story content. And thankfully, there's 2 big maps, because if it would have been just that small map from Redfall, I would have been a little bit disappointed, to be completely honest with you. But then when you get over to Burial Point, and it's so much bigger, and there's a lot more to explore, the world becomes more alive in the second map. You've got stronger vampires that are in there. You've got more vampires. You've got more. You've got 2 different factions that are actually fighting each other, so that you're kind of in the middle of it. It's not super overwhelming, but especially for like the single player mode, when you're in there playing it single player, I'm able to have a lot of fun, like going through the missions and the different variety of the type of things that are in there. It's kind of cool. Now, I want to talk about story for a minute. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way they've designed the story, the way they have like the cutscenes and all of that, there's a lot of reading involved in this game. You'll have to find, you know, pieces of paper and stuff. Then you can just kind of put things together. Like, this game is really cool for those type of people that really enjoy like the searching for the lore and finding all of that stuff, because this game is full of that. There's a lot of cool things that once you start to find things and you pick it up and you're reading things and you're seeing how the story kind of clicks, and then you have like before you start a mission, you'll have it's kind of like the storyboard type of deal for the cutscenes before each mission and stuff, and I like that. And the reason why I like that is because that adds to how fast this game could potentially be expanded upon. If they had to do a whole bunch of cutscenes and all of that stuff, I think it would slow it down. And seeing as this is more of like something that could potentially become a decent live service type experience, I like that fact, because I feel like that's not going to be a major roadblock for them to continue to put out content for it. Now, there is post-launch support for Redfall. You should be getting 2 more characters, and then, you know, whatever else they bring to this. I still have to defeat the last 2 bosses. I'm working on that right now. There's some other stuff I got to get in there, but I have a pretty good general idea of how good Redfall is and how good Redfall's been for me. The reason why I'm reviewing it incomplete right now is because I'm gonna have Zelda this weekend, and I need to, you know, kind of free up some time. I'm still gonna continue to try to get through that this week too as well. I'm gonna try to play some more tomorrow. I didn't have time today because I had TT Isle of Man, but as it sits right now, I mean, and like I don't feel like this is gonna change. I generally enjoy Redfall, but after I tell you this, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I don't like and stuff that they should change. I generally like Redfall. I believe this game is a solid 8, and that's after paying $70 for it. Had I just downloaded this on Gamepass, I think this game is an actual banger for Gamepass. Like, if you only pay the $10 to $15 to play on Gamepass, that is a good deal. This is a very good quality product for that. Now that I've said that and I've given you my score, I want to talk about the things that I don't like about this game. I do not like the fact that this game launched at 30 frames per second. I do find that really bothersome that a first-person shooter game is going to launch at 30 frames per second. That, especially on a next-gen console, with it being an Xbox first-party team now. I can overlook that because I've played it on PC, I've played it on Xbox. I feel like it feels more stable for me on the Xbox platform than it does on the PC right now. And I was able to get in there and actually play this game. Now, normally is what happens with first-person shooters. When I try to play these with at 30 frames per second, I will get motion sickness. I'm not getting that with Redfall at all. Like, this game feels smooth. It's fun to play. The aiming does kind of feel a little bit janky, and we'll get to a little bit more of that because that's another thing that I need them to change for this game. Now, well, actually, we'll just roll right into that. And it has to do with, like, the enemy variety. So the vampires are extremely fast. I feel that we need to be able to have either a dodge button so we can, like, sidestep fast, or more fluid motion for our aiming and being able to engage these vampires faster. It needs to feel a little bit more spot on. Even maybe if they do like a snap to aiming or something, I think that would definitely help, because I want this game to feel fast and frantic, and I want the gunplay to feel like good and precise and good like that. But at the same time, with it being sluggish, you kind of feel a little bit more vulnerable. So I don't necessarily know if that's 100% a problem or something that they could fix or make better. But I have noticed as my character Jacob continues to get stronger and builds up, that I do get a sense of growing with that character, and I'm getting more powerful. So I'm pretty much okay with that as well, for the most part. But another thing I really don't like is that I cannot go back to Redfall after getting to the second map. I would like to be able to go back and forth and continue to explore all throughout this map. without having to restart the game, that kind of bugs me. But you can join somebody else's game that's lower tier, that's still in that map, and you could still run around that way and explore. I want to talk about multiplayer for a minute, because I have had a chance to actually play with a squad of 4. Went through this, playing this, doing some missions, having a really good time with that. I do find that the overall experience with or without friends is actually fairly balanced. It actually feels pretty good. It is fun. You can get in there and play that. Now, there is no matchmaking in this game. No matchmaking whatsoever. So you are basically going to have to play with people that you already know, which to me is not a bad thing, because I have plenty of people that are willing to jump on there and play with me. But if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of friends on Xbox, I could definitely see that being a major problem. And it does. It kind of sucks. It kind of takes away from that if you have to find somebody to play it. Now, Redfall has been hit with some extremely harsh criticisms. And me personally, as a gamer, I do feel that it is 100% fair to criticize something that's being charged $70. But at the same time, I would like us as gamers to keep our criticisms realistic and manageable, and not completely just trash or bash a game just because it's not up to some quality that we deem. Like, this is Arcane Austin's game. This is their vision. This is what they put together. This is what they designed to entertain us. Now, there are things that obviously clearly are a problem. You know, yeah, there's some bugs, there's some glitches, there's some stuff like that. None of it game breaking for me, and none of it and none of it's overstayed its welcome. It hasn't been so bad that I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. I have ran into a few times where the frame rate's dropped. On the PC version, it's pretty unstable over there. I don't really care much for Unreal Engine 4 on PC. It's either optimized fine, or it's never optimized, or you barely get a playable experience like I did with Jedi Survivor. That was a fairly decent experience, but at the end of the day, man, Redfall to me is one of those types of games that I believe in this game to the point where I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, man. The right people, the people that this game is designed and built for, are going to enjoy this. And the people that, you know, don't want to play it or don't care, don't want to give it a chance, I mean, like, that's fine, man. You don't have to play it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to care for it. But if you don't, there's no reason for you to talk about it. Because what's here with Redfall is definitely worth playing. I personally, like I said, I paid my own money for this. I bought this. I paid for it full price. And I don't regret that decision. I do actually like Redfall, and I do enjoy playing this. I really enjoy single player. I don't really care much for the daytime, and I've said that in multiple streams now. I don't care much for the daytime, but at night in this game, oh my gosh, they 100% nailed the vampiric atmosphere. Like, it's great. I love it. It's given me like those 80s vampire movie, and I love it, man. Like, it just feels like, it just feels good. Like, it feels cool. I really do like that, and I appreciate that. So, in closing, what I would like to see them do is potentially bring like a PvP mode where you can be the vampire. You can customize the vampire, even if it's a 4v1 or 2v4 or something like that. Maybe even make it so like a real human could be the rook and invade your game, customize your rook, stuff like that. I think that would really potentially lead to a lot more. I think that would lead to a lot more people interacting with this particular title. I think that would be very good. They did it with Deathloop. I think they could 100% put that type of an experience into Redfall, and I think it would be great. Like, that would be incredible. I wish that they would. I wish that Arcane would take that feedback seriously and can really consider it. What else?
Stretched out.
The weapons. I do like that. I would like to see them expand on the weapons. Maybe bring in some more stuff, but they're already supposed to be bringing some of that with DLC. Potentially create more underground spaces in the map, maybe expand that a little bit more. There's just like little things like nitpicks that they could go through. I do notice a real big disconnect in terms of NPCs and like furniture and just world objects that just seem to be like very like the proportions are kind of comical. It's really funny. Maybe that's part of the design. Maybe it's just like something that they overlooked. But like you'll see people sitting in a chair that's 10 times too big for them, and the table's way bigger, and just weird stuff like that. Like it's not that big of a deal, but you are gonna notice it. Visual wise. I don't think it looks next gen. I don't think Unreal Engine 4 looks next gen at all. I mean, it looked good. Like the two best that have done it so far is Callisto Protocol and Jedi Survivor. They both look pretty good, but they both suffer performance-wise from all the stuff. I do like the aesthetic of Redfall. Normally, I don't care for that aesthetic too much, but there's something about the way this world looks that's like, wow, okay, that works. That works. It doesn't look super Fortnite, but it also doesn't look, super realistic. So it's like in the middle somewhere, and it just kind of works for me. So essentially, like I said, I'm giving the game an 8 after paying $70 for it. If I would have just played this on Game Pass, I feel like the score could potentially be a little bit higher. Multiplayer in this game is very, very, very fun. It's very immersive. I really enjoyed playing that. I'm glad that I had some help from members of the community to come out and help me check that out and really play that. You can take people from level 1 all the way to the end game with you if they want to jump in there and play that. So it is continuous. You can keep everything except for your progress, and I think that's kind of why, because if you're progressing, a level 1 character way out there, but you will keep your character level, you will keep all your loot, you'll keep everything that you pick up along the way, gravestones, all of that stuff, and I think it's pretty good, man. This is definitely a good game for Game Pass. Definitely a good game for Game Pass. I don't know if you necessarily need to own it, but this is good. This is a good one. I do really enjoy my time and experience with Redfall. So if you guys like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.
Same shit, different day.